You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com, thechrisvossshow.com. Hey, we're coming here with another great podcast. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to see the video version of this at youtube.com/Chris Voss, or you can go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, see all the books we're reading over there. You can also follow us at facebook.com/The Chris Voss Show. You can also follow numerous Chris Voss Show groups on Facebook and on LinkedIn as well. And you can follow us on Instagram at The Chris Voss Show or /Chris Voss. And this episode is brought to you by IFI Audio and their new Neo IDSD. The Neo is the new wave of digital sound listening for your desktop, music, gaming, and bleeding-edge Bluetooth, even MQA audiophile decoding. We're using it in the studio right now. I've loved my experience with it so far. It just makes everything sound so much more richer and better and takes things to the next level. IFI Audio is an award-winning audio tech company with one aim in mind: to improve your music enjoyment of quality sound, eradicate noise, distortion, and hiss from your listening experience. Check out their new incredible lineup of DACs and audio enhancement devices at ifi-audio.com. Recently, I joined Clubhouse in the last week. If you haven't checked out the Clubhouse app, it's only available, unfortunately, on the iPhone. The iTurd. So I've been on there, and it's been an incredible experience to hear and experience different speakers. And it's kind of like if you would imagine going to a show like CES or South by, and you go to panels events, and there's panel speakers that sit up on kind of a dais or a stage, and they impart whatever their sort of knowledge, and usually there's Q&A, and then sometimes there's interaction with the audience. Sometimes people are brought up in the stage to talk or introduce themselves. And so that's kind of what that is in a audio only format. And it's really cool. You network with a lot of different people. And I fortunately was in the audience of one of these rooms when a gentleman came on to what they call the stage of the Clubhouse and began to talk about his experience of what he'd gone through at the coup. I'm going to call it a coup, the fascist coup riots there at the Capitol just last week. And the beautiful thing about Clubhouse is you can go see people's links on Instagram. You can see their photos of their photographer. And so I wanted to get a chance to see what his experience was once I heard he was a photographer, and I was just blown away. And part of it was the story. I love people that go into different experiences, and they have a perspective and a story to tell, and not only from their interviews but from their own thing. And I just found that just incredibly intriguing with this gentleman. So I'd love to bring him on now with us and invite him on the show, and he was graceful enough to want to spend some time with us. His name is Mel D Cole. And he's an incredible photographer and a brilliant thinker. Let's put it that way. Mel, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I'm very well. Very well. Tired, but very well.
Yeah, you seem a little tired. I think you're a couple hours ahead of me. You're probably getting at the end of the day. So thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it, because first you had me floored with what you talked about in Clubhouse and your perspective. And then I saw your photos, and my mind just went. So Mel, if you could give us your .coms, plugs, places you want people to check you out and get to know you better.
Yeah, you can check out the more immediate work, things fast on Instagram. I'm at Mel D Cole. Pretty much I'm at Mel D Cole on every social media app there is, even on MySpace. And
there you go.
We go all the way back to Black Planet. I'm Mel D Cole on there too. So check me out there, and also on my website, meldcole.com. And that's pretty much it. That's where you can find me.
There you go. I heard Donald Trump's trying to find his MySpace password, because that's probably the only place you can get on. So there's that.
Hey, yeah, they might not. I I don't think that he's allowed on there either.
Probably not. Tom's not going to allow him on.
Right.
So let's get some background on you. Do you want to tell us about your upbringing and what brought you into photography before we get into some of the details of the event? And you
Sure.
covered Black Lives Matter as well.
Yeah, I did. So originally, I'm from Syracuse, New York, which is upstate New York. Born and raised there. All my family's there, and I'm a graduate of Stony Brook University out in Long Island, New York, and now I currently reside in Jersey City, which is 2 steps away from New York City. I look out my window and I can see Freedom Tower, aka World Trade Center. So yeah, this is home, New York area. And yeah, been a photographer for about 20 years. I started shooting on a disposable camera at a little place called SOB's in Manhattan. And yeah, it's the love of music that brought me to wanting to document. As a fan, and that grew into, the person I am now, where I have a book that's out that I released last February 2020. To being able to call people like Trey Songz and Questlove and Black Thought, some of my friends, and not just my friends, those are my brothers. So yeah, I shot just about every protest it seems like imaginable in New York City during the summer for Black Lives Matter. And yeah, next thing you know, that leads you up into shooting election stuff. And here we are. I shot the infamous day, January 6, 2001 in Washington, D.C.
And a day that will live in infamy. As we
Yes.
discussed before the show, this is gonna be around for a while. I think the news on it, and probably your photos too.
Yeah.
And I think you're in talks with some book deals, possibly to put some of the photos into a book and tell the story.
Yeah. There's a small competition out there, trying to sign me. So we'll see how that goes. Pick the best one, the one with the right offer, the one that fits, well for my brand as well and their brand. So yeah, lots going on, man. It's a lot.
So not only was it the story that you told, I mean, I've been a photographer. I bought all the lenses, but I didn't have the talent or the patience for doing the settings. So I know what good photography looks like. It's just never mine. So I tried that for a few years and gave it up. And so I have a lot of respect for the work that goes into it. And I've got some good photographer friends that are talented that I'm not. And so when I saw your pictures, it was quite extraordinary. But there was a lot of different storytelling that you did at this event. And you've done hip hop artists, you've done Black Lives Matters events, and I imagine sometimes there's the fear of the police. But what made you want to decide to go do this event? I mean, you're doing a Confederate sort of event where it's there's a whole lot of bad people there.
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say is it's not the safest place for a Black person to be necessarily.
Well, they're waving Confederate flags, and we know that a lot of them are racist white nationalist people.
Yes.
And
yes, but
there's
what it comes down to, man, is these days is that being a white nationalist doesn't necessarily mean that you're white.
Yeah, that's true.
There's the leader of the Proud Boys is not a white man, so and that organization is deemed a white supremacist organization. So there's plenty of Black people. I wouldn't say plenty, but you see Black people there. You see Asian people. You see Vietnamese origin, Japanese, like coming straight over here, to support Donald Trump. It's crazy, and yeah, I do fear for my life. I fear that, somebody might want to take a cheap shot. Oh, here's an easy, way to stab a Black man in the back, literally, my back is turned. But ultimately I'm there because, if not me, then who's going to do it? And I put myself in danger because it's an important event, to document. I want to document it. I'm fascinated by politics right now, especially the Donald Trump and his movement. And it's just a pivotal time in American history that I feel like, it's just super important. I have to be there. I'll be at the inauguration as well, whatever that's going to look like. It's looking like it's not going to be much this year, but I'll be there.
It's like it's going to be a lot of military, I guess. But it'll probably be great for photographs because it's going to be the most uniquest thing ever Hopefully it'll
Exactly.
be the mostest thing ever in the future too,
Right.
that we don't have to see. But as we talked before the show, I was born in 1968. I grew up
Hmm.
through the 70s. Even as a child, 3 and 4 years old, I'm watching Nixon and the TV and, the Vietnam riots and the replays of the 1968 Democratic convention, I'm trying to think of the college where the kids got shot, just a
Was that Kent
fucked up
State?
time. Yeah, Kent State. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kent State, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, just
Right.
just a horrible fucking time to be,
Yeah.
born and raised.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there going, this is my world. And so when I looked at a lot of your photos and a lot of the interviews you did, it really reminded me, especially the beautiful photos you did in that nice grittiness and that beautiful texture of black and white. So why don't I quit talking and let you tell us what your experience was like that day. I'll let you just walk right through it.
So my experience is I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I get to the media entrance because I got approved for a press pass to actually shoot the event, because people kind of forget, like, there was actually an event where there were speakers, and Donald Trump spoke behind bulletproof glass. To get in, you're getting your bag searched by the Secret Service and getting patted down by the Secret Service and getting wound by the Secret Service, and then you're being escorted in not by the Secret Service, but like a PR person. So they give you, a press pass. They give you a White House pool press pass. But I was like, "Ooh, this is cool. Definitely a keepsake." But then you're in there, man. You're in there, and slowly but surely, everybody starts trickling in. A lot of the Trump supporters and all the VIP Trump supporters. There were nuns. There were priests. There was Alex Jones, who, I'm not a fan of, but a fascinating figure in, radio and podcasting, YouTube, which he doesn't have anymore, all those things. But, it's fascinating. I listen to Howard Stern a lot, and one of his guys does this amazing impersonation of him. And I was like, oh man, like, I would love to get on Howard Stern. So I went and asked Alex Jones a question. I asked him, what do you think about Howard Stern's impersonation? And he was like, "Oh, I think it's funny." And it's like, "I gotta go." And I had a follow up. I was like, "Oh man, this isn't so funny. This never makes, this will never make Stern, but it's funny to me." But just you're there, just listening to all the speeches. Is Donald Trump Jr., Rudy Giuliani. There's all these different people, and they're all saying the same thing about how the election was stolen, how they don't believe what is happening is true, and we got to fight, do this, fight this, and we're gonna go down to Capitol building and demand answers. And Trump got on stage and basically, as most of you are listening now, like, he was saying the same things about we're gonna go fight, and he said himself that he was going to go down as well. So to me, that was basically giving the green light to the extremists in the crowd to go do what they did. And lo and behold, I didn't know at the time, because I got fixated on taking photos of these nuns that had on MAGA scarves and signs and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a fascinating photo. And at the time, I thought that was going to be my photo of the day. I thought, this is it, and whatever else happens, this is unique. Little did I know, walking down the street, I believe it's Constitution Avenue. You get there and it turns into, one of the, as we all know, one of the days that live in infamy in American history and world history.
Yeah. You can watch the thing with Donald Trump, but you can't feel the crowd. You were in the crowd. Did you really feel like an amped up, once he got on, the emotion in the crowd?
See, I don't know, because I was in like a VIP area. Excuse me. So they had, people that had tickets where I was, where the press was. Everyone else was far back. So, and there's this big gap in between. They had it all blocked up. So you couldn't even walk up and talk to anyone. You couldn't even cross. As soon as you went underneath the rope, the Secret Service was like, where are you going? And, kind of situation. Nowhere, wherever you tell me to go. That's where I'm going. I don't want any problems, sir.
That's how I am with cops.
Yeah. So
don't shoot me.
Right. So it wasn't after I took the photos of the nuns that I walked out in the crowd And that's where you really got a sense, okay, everyone's walking in the same directions, and it's, you know, same thing. Everyone's hyped up. You know, you got people, you know, playing the drums, and, you know, everyone's chanting, and you start to see some Confederate flags, people waving them proudly, you know, and then you get to the Capitol building, and basically you're like, holy crap, this is going down right now.
Did you think that they would really do what they ended up doing, or did you think, okay, well, we're going to go and it's going to be rowdy and they're going to yell and scream? And
yeah, I thought it was going to be just rowdy, yelling, scream, quite possibly, you know, some pepper spray, you know, getting in cops' faces. Maybe the cops would rough up some people. I thought it would be you know, it sucks to say, it's kind of like your typical, you know, crazy protests, you know, like I've seen before. Like I've seen cops, you know, do their thing. The protesters, where the protesters, yeah, they're fighting back, but they're not, you know, kicking butt. They're not whooping ass. So, you know, that's what I thought was going to happen. And I was all game to get those, you know, those type of photos, because it's I haven't seen cops versus, you know, back the blue people, you know, collide. Usually what I've seen is back the blue giving fist pump to cop. Which, you know, kind of situation, you know, they felt like they were on their side. This time it was like, no, the cops are traitors.
Yeah.
Traitors. So we are going to show you what we do to traitors.
It was quite extraordinary. You're just like, wow. So, you know, I watched one AP reporter who was doing some camera work, and he had his camera there, and I could tell it looked like it was one of those nice Canon DX1 or whatever. You know, it's got that big body, and he gets thrashed on. They think he's Antifa for some reason, which I guess that was their thing. And they start beating the hell out of him.
Was he a white guy?
Yeah. And they start beating him up. They push him back. And they just keep throwing him back, and they're swinging at him and they're screaming at him, you're a Tifa, and he's an AP reporter. And I think at one point they strip his camera from him because he finally gets it back. And I'm not sure if they broke the 7200 that he had on, because that wasn't on there at the time. So, did you ever feel like, I mean, you walked around, and if you go to Mel's Instagram and his website, you're going to see the video and the interviews he did and the spectacular photos, but you're actually, you know, you're talking to people. Did you ever was there any moment where anybody tried to turn on you or anything where you're like, holy shit, it's going down?
Not really, you know, just moving like how I move, you know, just being confident, being respectful of, you know, the space that I'm in. And when I mean the space, like all of it. So you're not rushing through people. If you bump somebody, you're saying, excuse me, you know, you're sir, ma'am, all of those things. You know, you want to show that you don't want to be messed with, but also, you know, you're not trying to intimidate anyone either. You don't want any problems, you know? So like I said, like, it's just, you know, by the way, you know, moving and shaking, doing what I do. And yeah, that's how I can explain it. And then, you know, you can't see my face, but it's just like, you know, because I have a mask on, but I'm just not really trying to be messed with. You know, that's the attitude that I have. Like, you know, just blank face. Like I'm trying to be invisible, you know? So, but it was only one instance where this man turned around. I had my press stuff on as well. And he turns around and he looks at me, and he was kind of like soft-ish. Like, he's like, oh, get out of here. And I just said, and I just got finished talking to other people around me. This is like right at the entranceway to get into the, you know, to the Capitol building where all the fighting was happening that you see on the TV mostly all day is right there. And I just say, turn around, everybody. It's like, yo, he just told me to leave. They were like, this one lady, it's like, it's okay, honey, just come over here. I said, oh, okay. Yeah, you know, the point of that is like, I just wanted to let them know that, you know, I'm not doing anything wrong. I've been here all day, you know, for 2 hours already, and now this guy is messing with me. So I just kind of let everybody know, and they were just like, okay. So at that point, you know, it's like, if something happened, I would hope that they would, you know, try to intervene. Yeah, and that was my hoping. You know.
Well, being a good photographer like you are, I mean, you want to blend in the background and be incognito because you're trying to capture the real moments, right? And if some people see you have a camera, then they change to something else.
Exactly. Yeah, they do.
And so that's a talent and skill that you have. One of the photos that you took that I've seen, a lot of people I've seen on websites, it struck me, and the story behind it was the photo you have of the cop who was dragged into the crowd and they're literally beating him. Tell us a little bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, I mean that really happened so fast. It I'm on the right side of the door, and then I'm standing up a little bit, and then you're up on something, ledge, and you just see him coming down, and everyone's cheering, yeah, beat him up, kill him, kick his ass, yeah, traitor, and you hear USA, and then he just had this. When I snapped a bunch of frames, but the one that everyone is seeing and the one that you're referring to is just like he just has this look of fear on his face. It was like, I felt like the look was like, I'm about to die. Don't kill me. Please come save me. Help me. And yeah, it's like I've never seen a police officer look like that before. Usually they just have this calm about them. They're confident. They're in control. And at this point, this man was not in control of anything. And later on, you find out even more tidbits about the story that I didn't know at the time. Like they took his badge. They talking about killing with his own gun. And he screaming out, "I have kids." So it's heartbreaking. To know that happened. And luckily, a few people around him, were not all about, whooping the police's ass. They were, I think if I had to assume, just caught up in the moment. It's like looking at a fire. They were there and they couldn't turn around because it's like, why would they? They intervened and, kind of put a stop to it. And everyone came to their senses because, they backed the blue. That's not what they do. So they allowed him to go back up and some other officers to come back down, and they, rescued him, so to speak. And moments after that, his game back on.
Wow. It's a sobering photo. You can see his back jacket that I think says Metropolitan Police.
Yeah.
And you can see the horror and terror in his face. And then I think you posted a thing from his ex-wife who gave the background on the story, which was just oh my God, it just floors you right into your soul and heart.
Yeah. If you don't feel for that, even if you don't, like the police, or you feel like you want to defund the police or reform them or whatever, if you don't feel that, I feel that, where's your humanity? You know what I mean? This person is a human being, he's alive and breathing, and might not approve of his job and career choice, but I mean, the man has kids, and I wouldn't wish death or harm on any man or person for that matter.
Yeah. And there was some other stuff from your work that day that struck me. Like I have a lot of discussions with my Black friends about when I see Black Trumpers or like we talked about all the different people that clearly, I know the agenda of Stephen Miller and Donald Trump, and they are white supremacists, white nationalists. They have no interest in anybody who doesn't look like them. In fact, if they do, it's evil. And Stephen Miller is an body of that. And so when I see people, like even I think in one of your videos, there's even a gay guy dancing, or what I think is the gay guy. And and I'm just like, do you guys understand, like, this, you're seriously on the wrong side. And radicalization has been like a word that's really been banging around my head the past 2 or 3 months in the conversations we've been having, trying to understand it, because I was trying to understand what people do. And it was really, you had a gentleman who was in your feed that you interviewed, and he was a very young guy. In fact, I think there was a couple different Black guys.
Two. There was one that was 21 and one that said he was 19.
Yeah. And your discussion with him really, I thought was really interesting. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Sure.
And his perception or his take on things.
Yeah, let's just back up with the gay guy. I think you're referring to in the video. I mean, either he was gay or he was holding someone else's megaphone. It just said it had the LBTQ. I believe I just messed that up. I'm sorry, everybody. The rainbow flag. It had the colors on there, and it said it as well. So I assumed he was gay, but also I've met a few gay men that are down and love Trump. There's one specifically in New York that goes around. He comes to all the events, and he wears a "Gays for Trump" shirt. And when I have this one photo of him holding a can of Goya beans, and this is when everyone was going protesting Goya beans, and it was like, honestly, I was just a bit confused, but fascinated as well. I was like, man, this guy is, freaking amazing. But so to fast forward to what else you said about interviewing black men that are Trump supporters, interviewing black people in general that are Trump supporters is another focus of mine. When I see them, I just can't help it. It's like, bees bear the honey. It's like I gotta talk to them, and lo and behold, they want to talk to me. They want to get things off of their chest. But this time in particular, this is my first time talking to young black men that are Trump supporters. And this one guy's 21 years old. He's from Prince George's County, which is, I believe, in Maryland, right outside of DC. It's where a lot of the African American population lives these days, from my understanding. I haven't been there, but this is what I've been told. And I just speak to him. I see him, and he has this giant, big hair, big head of dreads, and he has a red MAGA hat on. And I walk past him, and I say, "Oh my God, this guy is super interesting." So I take his photo, and I say, "Thank you," and I walk away, and then I say, "Oh my God." Light bulb went off. I said, I have to talk to this person, but I'm so far away. There's thousands of people. So I go back on that side, and I'm crossing my fingers in my head. I'm like, please, I hope I said it. Then he just appeared because he stands out like a sore thumb. Dreads, red hat, black. I was like, I'm going to see him. So there he is. And I asked him, I was like, hey, bro, can I talk to you for a second? He was like, yeah. So we walked and talked. And usually I film, I'm not on camera. But since we were walking, I'm holding my phone and talking to him at the same time, looking at it. So, you got to do what you got to do to get the job done. So, we just talked about, why are you here and what's going on, and why are you supporting Trump? And he gave him his answers. What he, thinks that is his truth, and I left it at that. I go in and when I talk to people, I'm just super respectful. I let them, I give them the stage, as you say, like in Clubhouse. And it's like I try not to steer it, too much in one direction or another, and just let them talk, man, and give them the platform. But also, a big part of it is to show my followers that there are people that you least suspect in walking down the street that may not just automatically agree with you just because you share the same skin color as them, the same heritage, you're the same race. That is not true. And, this guy looked like he could be an up and coming rapper. Like he's supposed to have a song on SoundCloud. Like he's, trying to make it out in the world. It looked like he does poetry and burns incense at home and, all those types of things, all your stereotypical things. But no, he's a Trump supporter. Yeah.
What's funny is I look like a Trump supporter. And if you look sunglasses on me, I look like a cop. I remember the first time I had Eddie Glaude Jr. on, he looked at me like, what did I just walk into?
I'm not going to lie. I got on here, I was like, huh.
I probably shouldn't be wearing the red shirt.
It's the red shirt right now.
Yeah, that's probably a bad choice on my part. It's like the one shirt I normally wear, these big baggy shirts that look like I slept in them because I'm a fat guy. And this is like a small, tight shirt, but it's the only one I have. So, but it doesn't make me look as fat. But
only thing that you're getting red is a starter shirt. If it said Under Armour on it, then we might have a problem. It's starter, so I'm like, all right, cool. Under Armour is like a telltale for police officers, or you might live in Staten Island somewhere, something like that.
Years ago, one of the companies we used to own was a franchise, and it was called Cool Cats with two Ks, and we had Sean John Rockaware, State Property, and all these the clothing lines, and we were partnered up with a friend, and sometimes I would dress up in their outfits and like. Just like the dumbest looking thing ever with me.
You got to send me some photos of that.
I don't. I do have a photo with me with who did the Crossroads song from
Bone Thugs.
Bone Thugs. Yeah, he came. We sponsored him, and he came to the mall and shot with us.
But that's a group though. Crossroads. They meet me at Crossroads.
It was the one of the gentlemen, Bones.
Yeah, it's Bone Thugs and Harmony is a group though.
Who was it was one of the guys from the thing. It's been like 15 years. So
yeah, I'm not.
But I do have a photo of that. So that was a cool one.
I would love to see that. You got to show me.
So what was interesting to me about the gentleman though was when you asked him why he was there, the first thing he mentioned was like energy. I love the energy of Donald Trump, and you could tell that energy is really like the real emotion. You see that in a lot of fascist movements. I've seen that in a lot of young people, regardless of what their background is or race, is they don't really know about politics as much or have a good grasp. Like, I don't know about you, but I sit and watch MSNBC or CNBC all day long. I study politics. I'm old, man. Awesome. I'm not chasing chicks anymore. And so it really spoke to me. I still don't know if radicalization is the right word.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the right word as well. I think that a lot of it are just, I hate to say loss. Loss has been a big buzzword lately on my Instagram, and everyone's saying, "Oh, he's lost," and I'm like, I don't think he's lost. He's found his way. This is his way. It's just not your way, in particular. Like he's doing his thing, and then a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's young. He'll come back." Come back to what? Like this is what he wants to do. Like just because he doesn't believe in what you want to believe in, But then it's like, is he radicalized? He's not a terrorist. He's, a part of this movement, called, the MAGA, the Make America Great Again movement. But, his reasons, were very basic to me. It's like, it's like one of those things. So my friend's doing, oh, this is kind of cool. Let me do it. Let me experience it. And that's what I felt with the 19-year-old. I mean, this guy told me that he didn't even vote in the last election. And he could have voted. Now, he just didn't turn 19. I thought he was going to be like, oh, no, I just turned blah, blah, blah. But no, even if he did just turn 19, no, that wouldn't work. The math, duh. And I asked, he's like, no, I didn't vote. But I learned my lesson. I'm going to vote in the local elections. And I asked him why he was here. And he said, I'm not here for Donald Trump. I'm here for America. And underneath my mask, my mouth was like, oh, okay. So you just went and got pepper sprayed multiple times. He told me that it was the second time. He said, in the same eye for America. But okay. And I just turned around and on the camera, I repeated it back to myself what he just said, so I can really just ingrain it in my brain. And then, you just get really distracted because there's a million things going on. But I was just like, wow. And I just knew that at that time that clip was going to be gold and people were going to, have a huge discussion about it on my Instagram, for better or for worse. They were going to talk about it.
I had the same reaction you did. I was just like, I'm lost, man. There's if people go through your Instagram, which I highly recommend, there's other great documentation of just the extraordinary amount of violence, vandalism, just to see of people, but you capture it really well, especially in those, like I say, those gritty black and whites. One of the funniest, maybe I should also say one of the saddest, but also one of the best documentations of white entitlement was the crazy guy with the glasses who talks about how he got pulled over, I think, one time and slammed.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he had on a jacket as I think it says LaShawn. That wasn't. I didn't capture that then. If you look at the date, it's from outside of a Trump rally in Reading, Pennsylvania, for re-election rally. And I saw him dressed up like he was dressed up as after the rally, and we're on the side of a highway, and we talked for like 8 minutes. And, maybe like around in the 6-minute mark or so, I forget exactly, I asked him about Black Lives Matter and, racism and, all of the things that, you ask a Trump supporter, because, Trump doesn't believe in a lot of these things. He asked them if they believe, try to get their opinion. So then he goes on to tell me the story. I was harassed by the cops. I was pushed, I was beat up, and they broke my glasses. Right. I shit myself. And then, he looks me right in the face and says, yeah, I know what it is to, how it feels to be Black. And honestly, listen back to it. I don't know how I didn't go, motherfucker, what the fuck? Get that. Like, but I was just like, you can hear in the video, I was just like, at one point he says he breaks his glasses or something. I say, oh no. But
he's got cool glasses on.
Yeah,
for racist.
Really, yeah, he was a really nice racist. He's nice to me, and he allowed me to talk to him and get his story and tell his story, which was important to me. But ultimately, man, like white people and other people that are not Black, if you're not Black, and some people I think get passed as Puerto Ricans and some Hispanics and so on and so forth. I mean, ultimately, you do not know what it is to be Black. You just don't, and don't ever say that to anyone. Don't ever say that to a Black person. And also, don't tell me how cool it is to be Black as well. I've had someone tell me that before in Australia, and that was just a crock of shit as well. It really pissed me off, but that's a whole nother story.
I can't blame you. And to me, that's what a lot of you capture. A lot of what you captured. I'm dyslexic in the brain, evidently. A lot of what you captured was that white entitlement, that white, their ability to just think, well, I can do whatever I want if I want to go storm the Capitol and all that good stuff. And yeah, I was floored when he said that. I'm in the middle of reading Caste. We didn't get her in time, but when she was starting her book tour to come on the show, and so we kind of late of it. But I'm reading Caste right now, and it's a really hard read, but a necessary one. I'm telling all my friends to read it. And then, this year we've had a lot of authors about James Baldwin on, and talking about white nationalism, of course, in the churches and different things. And so to see him make that statement at the end, where just because he got pulled over once and slammed up against the car, I know what it's like to be Black, is just shocking. It's just floors.
It's absurd.
It's absurd. Yeah,
it's absurd. But I think, I never really realized this before I started doing this work, because I didn't set out, to document the uprising, Black Lives Matter. This all started because of COVID, and there's nothing else to shoot. All the music, tours and all that stuff, obviously is done, it's still done, so when George Floyd died, I dedicated myself and my career and my platform to making sure that the stories and in the streets and what's happening outside during these protests are shown, in the best and most truthful light as possible. Like I said earlier, that turns into, the election, that turns into all these other things that, overlap and intersect and, so on and so forth. And here I am, talking to people and interviewing people. And what I've learned, is just to, pretty much keep my personal opinions out of it. And I think that's, what they call journalism, so to speak, one part of it. And just really get what they're saying. And I just I've learned to have this calming effect and make people comfortable. And he was comfortable enough to tell me that, and I was like, after listening back to it, I really gave myself a big pat on the back from it, because, obviously it's fucking gold, and but at the same time, it pisses me off personally.
Yeah. And it really speaks to the problem. I hope something like that is something that, that white people will look at and go, wow, that's how fucking awful we really are. We need to work on this. We need to stop this. My big thing in the next in the next 4 years is to make sure we don't forget how much we got to fix in this. Because a lot of people sat back with Obama and were like, "Whoa, we fixed racism because there's a black president."
Right.
No, actually, we backlash city with the racists. One of the other examples of that was the gentleman in the blue shirt with the Q on it, clearly a QAnon supporter, and
I hope he is. If he wasn't, he better be. The way he was screaming and yelling at me. I mean, not at me, but just screaming and yelling.
The capsule that you capture him at is extraordinary. He's spitting, he's drooling, and he's screaming about our country, which I had to learn when Donald Trump was elected, is the heritage code of, it doesn't mean you're me and everybody else's country. It means their country, and fuck the rest of us. And they want to run roughshod rule, whether it's from a religious, right-wing religious sort of aspect between theocracy is the word I'm looking for. But his thing, like you captured, I think in those two moments, like the Trump voter in a bottle, like you just put it in there. And just he's spitting and drooling and
another,
it's like a rabid animal.
Another piece of that was a money shot. It was extraordinary to walk up and see him screaming and yelling like that. The spit, I was scared as hell. Like, oh God, COVID.
Oh God, I didn't think about that too.
Oh shit, I think about it the whole time I'm there, man. No one's wearing a mask. Like, you barely see anybody wearing a mask. Wow. So I mean, him screaming on this, just coming on, and it was like I've been to, back in the day, I used to be a big WWF fan, and that's what I felt like. He was in the middle of the wrestling ring, and he was the evil villain, and he was trying to hype up the crowd. And except for the crowd, they were all his fans, and they were screaming and yelling back at him, "This is our country!" And yeah, come on. They're like, yeah. It was like whatever movie scene when it's time to go fight the war. They needed that motivation. They needed that speech to go out there and die. Back in the day when the Roman Empire, they're fighting, which is, to me, one of the stupidest ways to fight. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna walk up to each other and just clash heads. That's what it felt like. He was giving the speech to everybody, like what was going to happen. And don't tread on me. Don't tread on me. This is our country. I heard he's from around New York, around these parts. You can hear his accent. But yeah, that was just a very memorable moment. I'm happy that I was able to capture him. So
hopefully he'll be at Rikers soon.
Yeah, probably
visit him there.
Yeah.
So, but no, that was an extraordinary moment. The black and white pictures of you that you took of the people who gotten tear gassed and they're getting their eyes watered out. I mean, just really beautiful grit black and white photos. And then of course the different stream that you had there. Was there anything you wanted to share? Any other perceptions of that day that you want to share, or things that you took away from?
Yeah, I took away from it is like, what's been really important to me after the fact is making sure that my mental health was taken care of. Because, that whole day I was just pumped up on adrenaline. And I didn't realize how, I guess really, really chaotic it was until I got back to my hotel room. Like, I knew that was crazy. I'm super excited to edit and everything and to show the world what I saw. And I was scared to death, at the end there, the flashbangs or flashbangs, whatever there was, loud ass noises, which scared the shit out of me. That kind of stuff is like, you realize what it's like. Wasn't until the next day that it just really hit me, where I'm like, oh man, like I need to fucking cry. Yeah, I need to let this shit out, because I'm hurting inside. What I saw hurt me. And then it wasn't just from what I saw that day. It was just, accumulation of, COVID and isolation and, not being able to do my regular everyday life, missing music, and live music. I mean, it's just a bunch of stuff. So that's one thing that I want people to understand, that it's important. If you are working out there, if you're a photographer, you're a journalist, to just let it out and don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And also, I find it, what I took away from that day, is obvious that the country is divided, that it's going to take a long time to heal. Even if this didn't happen, but this just made the healing process, we haven't even begun it. So whenever we begin the healing process, this just added years on top of it, because, this isn't stopping anytime soon. The extremists are just becoming more bold. They're becoming more organized, and the hate is, they're wearing it right on their sleeve, on their tattoos, and they're proud. They're the Proud Boys. So Biden, his presidency is going to have a lot on his hands, and I hope that within a few years or whatever, we start to see some sort of process where things sort of change, and whoever's the president the next time after him, the next time, because I think this is 20 years of plus of undoing. I'm not the most political person, and I just really started getting into politics. This is, like I said, it's never been my avenue for my whole life. So, now, you start to pay attention more, and you're just like, holy shit, like this whole thing is it's just out of control. Like, look at the inauguration. You can't even have, a real one, not even a socially distanced one. It's going to be distance. They closed down the mall, and so you can't even, you go like this with the can't even get a whiff. You might even get a fingertip of them waving or something. They don't have the screens up or anything. It's horrible. But
You're gonna need to get one of those telescopic lenses that are like this for
I don't even think that matters. I don't even think it would not matter. You're not getting anywhere close to them. They shut shit down. So, but I'll still be there.
Do you think there's hope if we take, Trump has definitely fallen hard from this, and hopefully he'll stay off his, Twitter will keep banning him. I've called for that for years, and other things. And maybe if he goes down to disgrace, and there's enough oxygen that we take out from his bullshit, that a lot of this stuff will tone down. A lot of this maybe will die off. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about that?
That it'll die off?
It'll maybe come down. I don't know. Will it help? I don't know.
No.
We're fucked.
Yeah, no, I think we're fucked for a little while. Like we're fucked for a little while. Like this people are not no. No.
Yeah.
Now being in the thick of it, absolutely not. Like this is not going away. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Well, you witnessed something, you documented something. I there's a couple photos you have that are beautiful photos where you have the skyline of, I think, the Washington Monument or the outlay of that
Mm-hmm.
area, and then you have the mob and the fighting, and it's just one of those beautiful. Well, it's not beautiful, but it's one of those picturesque things that really need to be like the Smithsonian. So I think from my opinion, what you've done, some of the work and the beautiful photographs and interviews that you did, some of this stuff really needs to be in history books in the Smithsonian. So I'm really honored that you came on the show and spent some time. Maybe someday, I don't have grandkids, but maybe someday if I do, or I'll be able to tell somebody I had Mel Cole on my show to talk about these photos that you're seeing maybe 100 years from now. And we'll be talking about this for what? 200 years or something like that.
Forever.
Yeah.
Like you said, like forever, man. It's like, it would be an honor to have something in the Smithsonian, or have something in a history book that is public, out published to whomever. Like, it'd be amazing. So we'll see. I hope so. I hope a lot of people are watching. My life has changed. My life changed when I started shooting the Black Lives Matter protests, and then it changed again last Wednesday. So I've never done this much press in my life. So I'm just hoping that the powers that be that make the decisions are watching and listening and paying attention, because that would be an honor, and that's definitely one of the goals. Because my little guy is right here behind me. He's 2.5. And like he's gonna have all my stuff, leaving it to him, of course. But for him I could just imagine, being in school, if there's books when he's in school, who knows, but looking through whatever digital copy, and he's like, oh man, my dad took this photo. Like that to me is, worth it all.
I haven't seen any photos like yours from the show or from the coup. I haven't seen any photos that have that sort of quality, and there were a lot of professional guys there.
There are a lot of guys there, a lot of women. I mean, not that many. When I say a lot, I didn't see a lot of photographers, but there were some good photographers there. I've seen some good photos, but I mean, I feel like mine are some of the best, to be honest, humbly speaking.
Well, you're much braver than I am, because I wouldn't even done it the way I am. And if I see Confederate flags, I just go, I'm going that way.
Yeah, my dad said the same thing. He said, "Shit, I wouldn't have had my black ass in there. No way."
I wouldn't have gone myself.
Shit. Yeah, I've had white friends tell me like, "Shit, you crazy as hell for doing that." And I'm like, "Am I crazy?" Like,
somebody see me and they'd be like, "Did you do that fuck Donald Trump video on TikTok?" I'd be like, "No, that's somebody else, man. No." So there you go. Give us your plugs, Mel, before we go out, so people can look you up. And I'll be looking forward to seeing your future photography, especially if you're getting anywhere near the inauguration. I'll be interested in that perspective too.
Yeah, like I said, I probably won't get near, but you definitely will see some photos, the Instagram story, or whatever. But you can go to my Instagram at Mel D Cole. You can go to my website, meldcole.com. If you want to buy my book, it's called Great Photographs of Hip Hop 2002 2019. You can buy that on Amazon, or you can buy it directly from us, aka my publisher, at gethaymaker.com. That is gethaymaker.com. And besides that, I'm at Mel D Cole on every social media platform available that's known to man. Like I said earlier, all the way back to MySpace and Black Planet. So I'm there. Holla at your boy. Let's chat. I try to read all my messages, but I'm still trying to catch up, because I think I probably got over 5,000 messages over the last week. And it's been a lot. So So if you wrote me, if you're listening. If you're reading it, if you're watching this or listening to this, if you wrote me, trust me, I received it, and I'm trying my best to get to it, but it's tough, man.
Well, hopefully we can get you a book deal, and you can get a publicist, and they can take care of that stuff for you there.
All
that good stuff. I'm going to look forward to seeing a book from you. I'm going to be telling everybody about your artwork, and I've already been sharing it with so many people, and I was just blown away. I just think it was great. And I'm just an honor to have you on the show today, Mel. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it, Chris. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for asking me to participate in your podcast.
You got it.
I appreciate it.
You're going to be one of these guys, and I'll make this bet now, that you're going to go on to just rocket ship stardom, and I'm going to see just more great photography from you. So I'm going to be real excited to see that.
Let's hope you're correct.
Yes. I don't think there's hope, man. You got talent. You got it good. You're going to kick ass. You're going to take names. You're going. Rock
Thank
on.
You. I appreciate it.
There you go, bro. So to my audience, be sure to watch the video version of this at youtube.com/Chris Voss. Hit that bell notification button. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss. Go also to facebook.com, The Chris Voss Show, and LinkedIn as well. Thanks to Mel for being here, and check him out online. Follow us, really cool stuff, and wear your mask, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.